Okay, welcome to the final cold crop PCB demo. So we're going to be showing how the relays would turn on and off. So unfortunately, I was not able to make a harness in time because I didn't have any wire and we had already submitted our final budget. But in DR 2.1 or 2.2, I did show I was able to get the relays turning on and off with this setup. So instead, I'm just going to be showing the PSOC turning certain pins high and low, which would then turn the relays on and off. So in this case, high reading of 3.3 volts would be turning something off, and then a low voltage, which would be 0 volts or close to it, would be turning something on. And to start with, I'm just going to explain that I was doing some diagnostics on the PCB, so I bypassed the linear regulator. And basically that just means that this entire system is running off of 3.3 volts. But in the battery it would be running off of 12, so we can see right here it's saying 3.1 volts. But basically that means I'm not going to be able to show you the charger turning off, because right now the charger thinks the battery's about to die and it always needs to turn on. And to show that, I can show you that the charging pin, which is this one right here, should be reading 0 volts, which means that it wants to charge it right now, which is true. And this is different from ground, it's slightly higher. But so that would be charger turning on. Now, the other thing I want to look at is for setting the grow lights on. Let me change the time here real quick. So it's currently 3:44. Where's the time? So at 3:44. We would expect the grow lights to be on, because the grow lights are set to turn on a schedule from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if we look at the grow light pin, which is this guy right here, we see that it's also 0 volts. But now if we change the time so that it's past 7 p.m., say at 8, now if we look at that same pin, this guy right here, we see that it's now high, 3.3 volts. So that means the grow lights just turned off according to this system. Now, the other ones we have to check are the heater, of course. That's the big function of the thermostat. So right now we have our target set to 65 degrees and our limit at 80. So our target's at 65 and our temperature's at 61, so we would expect the heater to turn on right now, which means that it would be at 0 volts. And so if we check the heater pin, which is this guy, we see that it's indeed at 0 volts. But now if we change our target to be lower, so now the greenhouse is adequately heated, it's above the target. Now if we check that same pin, we see that it's now off, it's at 3.3 volts. And then next we're going to test the ventilation system. So if we look at our limit temperature, let's set our target a little bit lower first. So our limit temperature says things are too hot, we need to cool down the greenhouse. So with this setup, say our limit is at 60 degrees. Right now we're saying our temperature is overheating, the internal temperature of 61, 62. So we want to open the vents, which means we would turn the vent pin to 0 volts. And this should be the vent pin. And indeed we get 0 volts. But now it will only open the vents if the outside is actually cooler. So say if it's outside 90 degrees, it would not open the vents, because then it would heat the inside even more. And the way I'm simulating that is saying that the outside is cool, it's in ice water, while the inside is just room temperature. And if I take these out of here, we should see the vent turn off, or if I increase the limit back, so now we're back within a good temperature, so the vents should turn off. See here. There we go. Yeah, so the vents just turned off. This is the same vent pin. And that's it. That's all there is to it. The last thing would be the nutrient valve, and that's simply set to open once a week for a few seconds. And I don't have an easy way to demonstrate that working, but it's kind of the same idea as before. You just check the clock and add a tick to it, basically every time, so we can see at exactly 7 days apart, 1 week, however many ticks that is, it will activate that relay for 10 seconds. And that's all there is to it. Thanks.